Well, let's start with the first rule or the first law of the mind. And you might call this the law of our inside and outside world. What this says basically is that we are living in two worlds simultaneously. The world that we usually mostly experience is our inner world. This is our world of our feelings and of our thoughts. And then there is the outer world, which is the rest of the world. Anything that we can see, touch, experience in whatever way that's coming from outside is the outer world. So anything you can buy, anything, any person or animal or plant or minerals you can somehow experience is outside world. And since we're doing these videos in the UK, I'm now taking as an example the weather. Everybody talks about the weather. The weather is, if we look at it under this headline, outside world. And this outside world, for many people, more than 99%, dictates how I feel. Isn't that poor weather? Oh, it's impossible. It should be sunny out now. Or, oh my goodness, we had 6 weeks of no rain, says the gardener or the farmer. We need rain. So somebody is complaining about dryness. And then the little child who loves going to the beach enjoys 6 weeks of sunny, cloudless warmth. So the outside world determines, seemingly, how we feel. But how come that everybody feels something different? Although in words they may agree to some degree, they experience something different. The one is only happy if it is 22 to 24 degrees centigrade. Everything above it is too much. The other one really enjoys anything that's above 30 degrees centigrade, and so forth and so forth. How come everybody experiences things differently? This is because our mind has some filters built into it. And these filters are basically the result of experiences that we've made early on. I stick to the weather, so it remains easy. When as a child, I've learned from my parents and or the other significant other people of my life, people in authority, I've learned that cloudless 27 degrees centigrade is good weather, and 3 degrees rainy, stormy weather like in November or so is ugly and bad weather. This becomes my truth. So what happens in the following years and decades is that I filter the information that the weather gives me, information, temperature, rainy, sunny, cloudy, whatever, gets through my filter. And this filter is basically made up of generalizations. When it is sunny weather, cloudless, we call it good weather, maybe. And if it's cloudy and if it's rainy and stormy, we call it bad. So we make generalizations. That's the first thing that makes up part of our filter. The second part is distortion. Let's say you got bitten when you were age 5 or 6 by a white poodle. He bit you in your calves. And it hurt, and you've been crying, and everybody, was full of sympathy with you, poor guy. You can make a generalization out of it. You can make, dogs are dangerous, they bite me. I need to avoid dogs. This is one thing. You can distort it and say, white poodles are dangerous. Not a German Shepherd, not a Labrador. Only white poodles are dangerous. And what else? Generalization and distortion. You can kind of change the reality in a certain way and do it again and again and again. This is then making up your inner, what you might call, map of reality, part of which is cloudy, rainy, stormy weather is bad, and white poodles are bad. Okay? And on the other hand, in your internal map of reality, it says cloudless, 27 degrees centigrade are good, and so forth. And cats are nice, because you've never been bitten by a cat. Okay, so I think you may somehow get the idea that all your judgments about anything in the outside world has some roots that are put into your mind early on. The only way out of those generalizations, those distortions, and so forth, is to train your mind. For instance, I was afraid of dogs when I was a kid. And this stuck until I was in my 30s. I was afraid of almost any dog. And then I worked on myself. I faced the dogs of my life. I really made me make new experiences. And meanwhile, we have a beautiful Labrador dog at home, and we love each other. And I'm not afraid of foreign dogs. Not at all. So this is a little bit of training. You may have height fear. When you're looking down a tower or looking out a window of an aeroplane or whatever, you get scared. By training, you can get rid of this fear. Okay, so your internal map of reality, so to speak, is your reality as long as you allow it to be your reality. When it serves you, when it's good for you, when you feel good about it, about everything more or less in your life, then your internal map of reality is perfect. But to understand this concept is one thing, and it may take only 5 minutes. But to really master this concept will take a little longer and usually a lifetime. So let's go back from our experiences that form our internal map of reality, and by that, our perception of reality. The first thing that always happens, like in Genesis, first chapter of the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. So the idea of everything was before it materialized. So the thought, the idea of something is always the beginning. It's the beginning of an industrial revolution. It's the beginning of a piece of art. It's the beginning of a relationship. It's the beginning of everything. First thing is a thought. This thought is followed by an emotion, by a feeling. And this feeling and this thinking leads to actions. And these actions lead to a consequence, to a result in the outside world. If we look at this kind of in the context of inside of outside world, our thoughts and our feelings are the inside world, and the results that we create in the outside world is obviously the outside. And the actions, the activities are, if you wish, the bridge between inner and outer world. Okay. Without going into more detail, this is from a medical point of view very interesting, but if we avoid this, we just remember, please remember, thinking and feeling is inside world, action is the bridge between inside and outside world, and the result in the outside world is obviously in the outside world. Now, there is a feedback loop from the outside world into our inside world. Let's assume you have an argument with your spouse. This has a history. One of you has thought something, and then feelings kicked in, and then some activities kicked in, and so forth. And then the result is you are both mad. Now comes an interesting thing. The feedback loop from this result, my wife or my husband is mad at me, or she made or he made me mad. This creates some new thoughts, and following this, some new feelings, and following this, some activities, and then some results. And if you just follow the normal pattern, this is spiraling down. Your mood, your relationship is spiraling down. On the other hand, if your spouse is mad at you and you look a little bit from above and say, what has her or him made mad at me? Okay, I understand. What can I do to improve the situation for her and myself? Or for him and myself? And then you say, honey, may I cook you a cup of tea? Or may I bring you a beer? Or let's go into a nice movie, whatever it is. Or give some back massage. So basically, the result is your spouse is mad, and your internal map of reality says, if I now get madder and madder and madder, we are spiraling down, and this is what I don't want. I prefer to spiraling up again. And that's why I'm doing something where I'm pretty sure she or he will enjoy it. So, my internal map of reality, usually when we start out as a normal person, is tempted to choose the spiraling down path. And what you can train is you can choose the spiraling up path, and by that improving your life. My name is Dr. Wulff, a leading expert in mindset transformation and personal success. By joining me, you will unlock proven strategies to elevate your mindset and transform your life. Explore more in the video description.